Have you ever wondered how a company that once called itself the king of the world could stumble so badly that it ended up in bankruptcy? How did General Motors, an icon of American manufacturing, fail while Japanese competitors like Toyota and Honda surged ahead? GM's story is a powerful cautionary tale about complacency, overconfidence, and the subtle, creeping danger of being second best. If you're ready to see what really happened behind the assembly lines, comment below, "I want to know the truth." And don't forget to subscribe, because the next story will reveal how other companies self-sabotage when they stop striving to be the best. Back in the 1980s and 90s, General Motors was expanding everywhere. Cadillac, Chevrolet, Buick, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, you name it. And each brand had a dizzying array of models, trims, and variants. The thinking was simple: more choices mean more market share. But the truth was much darker. By trying to be good at everything, GM became average at everything. Consumers had plenty of options, yes, but none of the products truly stood out. No car was exceptional, no innovation defined the brand. This is what I call the mediocrity trap. When you have too many products, you dilute your resources. When you have too many similar brands, they start competing against each other internally. Being second best in every single market segment is far more dangerous than being the absolute best in just one. Meanwhile, companies like Toyota and Honda were playing a different game. They focused on fewer models, simpler lineups, and absolutely meticulous engineering. Their cars were reliable, efficient, and consistent. And the market noticed. Consumers started to trust them. Over time, that market share began to shift, quietly but relentlessly. But GM executives seemed blind to this change. They had grown complacent, believing that American dominance in the auto industry was an unshakable birthright. But here's the thing: dominance without excellence is incredibly fragile. As fuel prices fluctuated, oil crises hit, and global competition intensified, GM suddenly found itself trailing, not leading. Complacency and overexpansion were only part of the problem. The bigger issue was quality. GM relied on a traditional mass production philosophy: volume over precision. Cars were built as quickly as possible, parts were standardized, and defects were often just considered a cost of doing business, something to be addressed after the sale. Warranty costs were piling up, recalls were becoming more frequent, and brand loyalty began to erode. Toyota, on the other hand, embraced a philosophy called Kaizen, the cornerstone of the Toyota production system. This system is built on two simple but revolutionary ideas: continuous improvement every single day, and empowering every employee to stop the entire production line if a defect is detected. The focus was on achieving quality at the source, not fixing mistakes later. The results were staggering. Toyota cars required fewer repairs, they consistently won higher ratings in JD Power surveys, and they enjoyed much higher customer satisfaction. GM cars, in stark contrast, were increasingly associated with breakdowns, recalls, and expensive long-term maintenance. If you look at charts from the early 2000s, it's crystal clear. GM's warranty expenses skyrocketed, while Toyota's stayed consistently low. Consumer trust, once GM's greatest asset, was eroding fast. Being second best wasn't just a branding issue, it was becoming financially painful. Every single warranty repair, every recall notice, and every unhappy customer cost GM millions of dollars. By the time executives finally realized the true depth of their quality crisis, it was already too late. GM's story is more than just a car story. It's a powerful lesson for our own careers and businesses. In any competitive environment, being good enough is incredibly dangerous. Complacency is the silent killer. 3 key lessons emerge from GM's spectacular fall. First, focus on being the absolute best in your niche. Don't try to dominate everywhere. Master one area first. Excellence is what attracts loyalty and builds resilience against market shocks. Second, invest in quality at every single level. Don't treat defects as an unavoidable part of the process. Fix problems at their source. Systems like Toyota's Kaizen prove that continuous improvement is possible. And third, never ever underestimate your competition. Just because you're dominant today doesn't mean you will be tomorrow. Competitors that are more focused, more innovative, and constantly improving will eventually overtake the complacent giant. In our personal careers, the lesson is exactly the same. Excelling in one specialized skill beats being mediocre across a dozen different areas. Deep expertise, consistency, and a real attention to detail are the qualities that will help you survive and thrive through any change. GM's failure also reflects a deep psychological pattern: overconfidence coupled with denial. The executives simply assumed that American engineering and brand power guaranteed their success forever. They ignored all the early warning signs: declining market share in compact cars, rising warranty claims, and the growing efficiency of their foreign competitors. This is a classic cognitive trap, known as status quo bias, the tendency to maintain existing practices even when all the evidence shows they are failing. The company also suffered from crippling internal contradictions. Multiple brands were all competing for the same limited resources. Engineers and designers were being pulled in a dozen different directions, and any real innovation was slowed to a crawl by suffocating bureaucracy. The corporate culture rewarded people for sticking to the old methods, not for challenging the system. So when General Motors declared bankruptcy in 2009, it wasn't a sudden collapse. It was the predictable, inevitable result of decades of mediocrity, overconfidence, and deep-seated complacency. The GM story teaches us some critical lessons. First, second best is dangerous. You have to strive for excellence, not just settle for being average. Second, innovation cannot be optional. Continuous improvement and a laser focus on the customer are non-negotiable for survival. And finally, systems matter. The Toyota production system and the philosophy of Kaizen show that structured processes for ensuring quality and accountability make a world of difference. And of course, global awareness is essential. Being the king of your local market doesn't protect you from hungry international competitors. Whether you run a company, manage a team, or are just navigating your own personal career, these principles apply. Focus, excellence, and a relentless drive for improvement will carry you much farther than size, legacy, or reputation alone. The story of General Motors is a stark reminder that complacency is lethal. Dominance today is no guarantee of survival tomorrow. The danger of being second best is subtle, it's slow, and it is absolutely relentless. It creeps in when companies assume their past success will protect their future performance. GM wasn't destroyed overnight. It was slowly eroded by mediocrity, by quality issues, and by a paralyzing sense of overconfidence. Meanwhile, competitors like Toyota and Honda were busy perfecting their craft, leveraging Kaizen, and setting new benchmarks for the entire world. For leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals everywhere, the takeaway is clear. Be the best where it matters most, relentlessly improve, and never, ever underestimate your competitors. If this story reshapes how you think about corporate strategy and personal excellence, comment below with "I want to know the truth" to join the conversation. Please share this video with anyone who could benefit from these powerful lessons. And be sure to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the rise and fall of iconic companies. Remember, size, legacy, and brand recognition alone cannot protect you. Only focus, quality, and relentless improvement can ensure survival. Thank you for watching.